Hello and welcome to the video. This is a quick overview and review of this little thing here. This is the Mobula 6 HD version. Now, I am a huge fan of the Mobula 6. It's one of my favourite little whoops, and I was fascinated to see how this one was, because this one is very similar to the original, with the exception this one has a little Runcam split 3 light on the front. So a lot of this will look very familiar, but I was interested to see how it flew, how much flight time it got, and also how well that camera actually caught footage. Now, it's very impressive to have HD recording in such a neat small package like this. So I'll follow the standard setup that I normally do: unboxing, beta flight footage, and then summary at the end. So while I unbox this, let me go through each of the specs. This again is the Mobula 6 HD, 65mm wheelbase, although it's 80 by 80mm by 40mm deep. Weight on the package is 27 grams, although this is the weight without the battery and this is the weight with the battery. Taking it out, first thing you're going to find is a little toolkit with some spare props and the bits for your camera. Then there is the model itself, come back to that in a second. In here are 4 250 milliamp hour batteries and a little battery charger, although if you're serious about this, I'd get yourself something better for charging these LiPo HV batteries. Little manual as well, but taking the main event out. So on here, the motors are EX0802 19,000 kV, propellers are a little gem fan 12, 19, 3-bladed props. There is the prop remover in the kit. The flight controller, as we'll see in a second, is a little Crazy Beat F4 Lite flight controller. It has the connection for the USB at the bottom, and again, the motors are plug-in. VTX is only capable of 25 milliwatts. The onboard 4-in-1 ESC is a 5 amp continuous peak for 6 amps for 3 seconds and will only support 1S LiPo. And the camera, of course, is the Runcam Split 3 Lite. Plugging it into Beta Flight, you'll have to access the port at the bottom, and then in Beta Flight it looks like this, with expert mode turned on, everything's moving around. Only a couple of things to note really. It is an older version of Beta Flight, 357 on here, and it is the Crazy Bee F4 FR target. Ports are set like this, so just the TBS Smart Audio for the VTX, change the channel and band. D-Shock seats 100, motor stop isn't turned on, motor direction is reversed, be aware of that. The 8K gyro and PID loop frequency doesn't appear to be pushing the F4 processor particularly hard, not as hard as it does in later versions of Betaflight anyway. And then this is what's set on, air mode permanently enabled, and then the beeper is set too. Power and battery looks like this. Nothing particularly exciting there. Failsafe is set to drop. PID tuning, what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description to both the dump and the diff of this model if you want to have a look in particular. Receiver is set by default to TAER1234, so if you don't want to come in here and mess around with all this stuff, that is the default settings as opposed to AETR, which is the normal. You probably have to come in here, I would recommend anyway, plug it into Beta Flight and play with the modes. The modes aren't bad. could fly with this, but I would change it around so that you have angle and potentially horizon mode as well. But to be honest, this little camera ship is really designed to fly around in angle and give you a minute or so of really good HD footage. Also set up your beeper, because if it does come down in long grass, it will disappear and you will be sad. On-screen display needs a little bit of TLC, a little bit scruffy as it stands, and the other thing to be aware of is the default font on this is the very large font, which can again look a little bit clunky, so you might want to change that around and turn it into the more default font, which is a lot smaller, which takes up a little bit less real estate in the goggles. In terms of the flying experience is very nice. It doesn't feel as powerful and race car as the Mobula 6. It's a lot more sedate. To get this thing to hover, you need the throttle at about 2/3, which is very high. So this is very much a camera ship for just gently floating around and getting that HD footage at that Runcam Split 3 Lite. Both indoors and outdoors, the camera works very nicely, but be aware with that 25 milliwatt power limit, you're not going to be traveling very far. And to be honest, The battery doesn't last a ton of time either. I'm only getting about 1 minute 20, 1 minute 30 at a push flying around on this little thing, even if I'm not pushing it particularly hard. So in summary, what do I think? Well, I'm a big fan of the Mobula 6. It's really interesting to see them put the Runcam Split 3 on the top. Plug-in motors, the tune's very good, it flies beautifully. It has a lot less oomph than the regular Mobula 6 with analog FPV. So if you're expecting that kind of race car performance out of this, you're definitely not going to get it. Weight's about 42 grams of the battery, and the performance of the Runcam Split 3 Lite is actually very good for the size. And the typical noise that you get from a Whoop is exactly what you're going to get from this one. So it's an awful lot quieter than some of the other toothpick and 3-inch things that I've been looking at recently. Couple of things to be aware of with this though. SPI receiver again on here, so use D8 if you can, or if you have to use D16, turn off telemetry. It is a very old version of Betaflight, but flies very nicely. Be aware of that. It would have been nice to see 4.2 or a later version of Betaflight on this, as it's a relatively recent quad. SD card can be finicky to get in and out. It's built like a Swiss watch, and there's only just enough room to get the SD card in, so be aware of that. And if you're going to fly this, don't cut your nails before you go to the field. You'll never get the SD card in or out. Again, not a ton of power. I would have liked a little bit more, needing 2/3 throttle to hover. I personally would have liked it more at the 50% range, just to give me options to fly when it isn't completely calm. And don't forget to use linear antennas on your goggles. That will give you the best flying experiences, particularly with the lower output of the VTX. So in summary, this is a great little quad for short HD videos in places you couldn't get to any other way. But if you're looking for HD videos longer than a minute, minute and a half at a time, this probably isn't the platform for you. This is the HD recording on the smallest package I've seen, and although probably won't be one that I fly regularly, for those little places that I want just a minute or minute and a half of HD footage, this is what I'm going to reach for. In fact, I've just had an idea as I'm recording this. This is one that I won't fly a lot, and I haven't done a giveaway in a little while. So I'm going to give this one away, and also reward all of you that don't just watch the first 2 minutes of the video. So this is going to go in the prize pile. I'm going to do the draw in a couple of weeks as usual, standard stuff. Make sure you're a subscriber to the channel, leave a comment down below and include the text awesome little quad, and also like the video, and I will do the draw in a couple of weeks. And good luck to everybody. Hopefully somebody can get this and have fun with it. I have other quads about that I can record HD on, so let's hope this will find a new home where it will get flown and loved. Thank you for watching my video and watching right to the very end. If you want to find out what I'm currently working on, you can follow me on social media by searching for Painless360 in the usual places. If you'd like to become part of the inner circle, then you can become a Patreon. Details are in the description and you get lots of additional benefits. Check out the playlist section on the channel too. I organise all of my videos into playlists, and it's called something like Introduction to or for Beginners. All of the content is aimed so that you can start at the very beginning, and it teaches you that subject, starting with simple principles and moving up to teach you everything you need to know.